A peaceful afternoon at the park, ruthless bikers seeking revenge, and a mother whose secret identity will change everything. Sometimes the most dangerous predators are the ones protecting their young, and sometimes the biggest mistake you can make is threatening someone's child. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and hit the notification bell. This helps us bring you more powerful stories like this one. The spring afternoon at Riverside Park was perfect. Children laughing on swings, mothers chatting on benches, the kind of peaceful suburban scene that made Emma Rodriguez feel like she'd finally found the normal life she'd always wanted. She pushed her 18-month-old daughter Sophia in the baby swing, smiling at the toddler's delighted giggles. Emma looked like any other young mother. Designer jeans, soft sweater, perfectly styled brown hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. Her manicured hands were gentle as she steadied the swing, and her voice was warm and loving as she cooed at her daughter. "Higher, Mama," Sophia squealed in her adorable toddler voice. "Not too high, baby girl," Emma replied with a laugh. "We don't want you flying away." What the other mothers at the park didn't know was that Emma Rodriguez had spent the past 3 years trying to forget a different kind of life. A life where her hands had been trained to kill rather than comfort, where her voice had given orders instead of lullabies, where she'd been known by a very different name in very different circles. From across the park, 3 men in leather vests watched the playground through binoculars. The patches on their vests identified them as members of the Blood Serpents Motorcycle Club, and their faces carried the hard expressions of men accustomed to violence. "That's her," growled Marcus Viper Santos, pointing at a blonde woman pushing a stroller near the duck pond. "Jennifer Williams, wife of the prosecutor who sent our brother to death row. She comes here every Tuesday with her kid." His partner Jake "Razor" Mitchell checked his .38 revolver. "Boss wants us to grab the kid, make Daddy Prosecutor understand what happens when you mess with the Blood Serpents." The third man, Tommy Psycho Torres, laughed coldly. Nothing motivates a man like knowing his baby's life depends on his cooperation. They'd been planning this operation for 2 weeks. District Attorney Robert Williams had successfully prosecuted Blood Serpents President Danny Reaper Jackson for murder, and Jackson was now on death row. The surviving club members wanted revenge, and they decided that targeting Williams' family would send the perfect message. But as they prepared to move, the 3 bikers made a crucial error. The blonde woman they'd been watching was Jennifer Williams, but she wasn't alone at the park. And in their focus on their target, they completely missed the fact that there were multiple mothers with toddlers in the playground area. "Move in 30 seconds, Viper ordered. "Grab the kid, neutralize any witnesses, and get out clean." Emma was lifting Sophia out of the swing when she noticed the 3 men in leather vests walking purposefully across the park. Her maternal instincts immediately went on alert. Something about their body language screamed danger. Then she saw them heading directly toward the blonde woman with the stroller, and Emma's blood ran cold. She recognized the tactical movement pattern, the coordinated approach, the predatory focus. These men were hunters, and they were about to strike. Emma's mind shifted into a mode she hadn't accessed in 3 years. The suburban mother disappeared, replaced by someone with very different skills and a very different past. "Excuse me," Emma called out to the other mothers, her voice carrying sudden authority. "Everyone needs to take their children and leave the playground immediately. Right now." "What's wrong?" one mother asked, confused by the urgency in Emma's tone. "Just go. Trust me." As the confused mothers began gathering their children, Emma quickly strapped Sophia into her stroller and positioned herself between the approaching bikers and the fleeing families. She pulled out her cell phone and speed-dialed a number she'd never wanted to use again. "Control, this is Viper 6, she said quietly into the phone, using a code name she hadn't spoken in 3 years. "I have a situation. 3 hostiles moving on civilian targets at Riverside Park. Request immediate backup." The voice that answered was crisp and professional. "Viper 6, this channel has been inactive for 3 years. Confirm your identity. Agent Emma Rodriguez, formerly of Task Force Black Mamba. Serial number 7749, Delta, X. And I'm about to go active whether you authorize it or not." Emma Rodriguez, suburban mother and former government assassin, was about to remind everyone why she'd been the most dangerous woman in 3 countries before she'd retired to raise her daughter. The Blood Serpents had no idea they were about to kidnap the wrong baby from the deadliest mother in the western United States. The 3 Blood Serpents bikers approached the blonde woman with the stroller, completely unaware that their target acquisition had gone wrong. Jennifer Williams was indeed at the park with her child, but she was 50 yards away near the duck pond, while the bikers were heading straight for Emma Rodriguez. "Excuse me, lady," Viper said, stepping into Emma's path with what he thought was an intimidating presence. "We need to talk." Emma looked up at the three men, quickly assessing the threat level. All armed, she could see the bulges of concealed weapons under their leather vests. All positioned to prevent escape routes. All focused on what they thought was an easy target. "I think you have me confused with someone else," Emma said calmly, her hand resting casually on Sophia's stroller handle. "Jennifer Williams, right? Married to District Attorney Robert Williams." Razor stepped closer, his hand moving toward his concealed weapon. Emma realized the mistake immediately. These men were after the prosecutor's wife, but they'd targeted her instead. A case of mistaken identity that was about to turn very dangerous for everyone involved. "I'm not Jennifer Williams," Emma said quietly. "Sure you're not," Psycho sneered. "Just like you're not about to come with us real quiet-like so nobody gets hurt." "Actually," Emma replied, her voice taking on a different tone entirely, "I think you're the ones who should be worried about getting hurt." The change in Emma's demeanor was subtle but unmistakable. Her posture shifted from maternal protectiveness to predatory readiness. Her eyes hardened from warm brown to cold calculation. Her hands moved with sudden precision as she positioned herself between the bikers and her daughter. "Lady, I don't think you understand the situation," Viper said, starting to pull his weapon. "We got orders to." Emma moved faster than any of them expected. Her first strike caught Viper in the solar plexus with surgical precision, driving all the air from his lungs. Her second movement grabbed his gun hand and twisted until she heard bones crack. The weapon clattered to the ground as Viper collapsed, gasping. Razor was already reaching for his .38 when Emma's elbow caught him in the temple. He staggered backward, dazed and disoriented, giving Emma the opening she needed to grab his weapon as well. Psycho, the smartest of the three, immediately understood that this was not Jennifer Williams, suburban prosecutor's wife. This was someone with military-level combat training who just neutralized two armed men in less than 5 seconds. "What the hell are you?" he demanded, backing away with his hands raised. "I'm someone you really shouldn't have threatened," Emma replied, now holding Razor's .38 while keeping her other hand on Sophia's stroller. "More importantly, I'm someone whose daughter you just put in danger." Sophia, secure in her stroller, clapped her hands and giggled, thinking her mother was playing some kind of game. She had no idea that Emma Rodriguez had just shifted from peaceful suburban mom to lethal government operative. "Here's what's going to happen," Emma continued, her voice carrying the authority of someone accustomed to being obeyed without question. "You're going to call whoever sent you and tell them the operation is cancelled. Then you're going to leave this park and never come back." "Lady, you don't know who you're messing with," Psycho tried to regain some control of the situation. "The blood serpents don't just walk away from contracts." "The blood serpents," Emma repeated thoughtfully. "Let me guess. You're here because someone in your organization is facing prosecution, and you thought kidnapping a prosecutor's family would be good leverage." Psycho's expression confirmed her assessment. "Here's the problem," Emma continued. "You targeted the wrong woman. Jennifer Williams is over there by the duck pond with the actual target you're supposed to be after. I'm Emma Rodriguez, and 3 years ago, I was the U.S. government's solution to problems that couldn't be solved through normal diplomatic channels." The implications of what she was saying began to dawn on Psycho. "You're military." "I was something much more specialized than military." Emma's smile was sharp as a blade. "I was the person they sent when entire organizations needed to disappear quietly. And you just threatened my child." In the distance, Emma could hear the sound of sirens approaching. Her backup call had been answered, but she wasn't sure she wanted official involvement in this situation. Sometimes personal justice was more satisfying than legal justice. "So here's your choice," Emma told the 3 bikers. "Option 1. You leave now, abandon whatever plan brought you here, and pray I never see you again. Option 2. I explain to my former colleagues that the Blood Serpents Motorcycle Club has become a threat to federal witnesses and their families." "What's option 2 mean?" Psycho asked nervously. Emma's smile became truly frightening. "Option 2 means that within a week, there won't be a Blood Serpents motorcycle club anymore. There will just be a lot of unexplained accidents involving former club members. As she spoke, 3 black SUVs pulled into the park's parking lot, and 6 people in civilian clothes but with distinctly military bearing began walking toward the playground. "My backup just arrived," Emma announced. "Decision time, gentlemen. Do you want to deal with a retired government assassin having a nice day at the park with her daughter, or do you want to deal with active government operatives who are very protective of their former colleagues?" The Blood Serpents were about to learn that some mistakes have permanent consequences. The 6 operatives approaching from the black SUVs moved with the silent coordination Emma remembered from her active duty days. Their leader, a woman in her 40s with steel-gray eyes, reached the playground first. "Agent Rodriguez," she said formally. "Agent Sarah Chen, current Task Force Black Mamba Operations Director. Situation report." Emma kept her weapon trained on the 3 bikers while speaking. 3 Blood Serpents members attempted to kidnap my daughter in a case of mistaken identity. They were targeting D.A. Robert Williams' family but grabbed the wrong woman. Agent Chen studied the scene. 2 bikers down and groaning, one standing with his hands raised, and Emma Rodriguez calmly holding both a weapon and her toddler stroller. "Viper 6, you've been inactive for 3 years, Chen said. Are you requesting reinstatement?" "Negative. I'm requesting that these gentlemen understand why threatening retired government assets and their families is a poor life choice." Sophia babbled happily from her stroller, completely oblivious to the fact that her mother was holding 3 criminals at gunpoint while discussing assassination protocols with federal agents. Psycho looked around at the operatives surrounding him and made a desperate calculation. "This is insane. We're American citizens. You can't just—" "Actually," Agent Chen interrupted, "you attempted to kidnap the child of a classified government asset. That makes this a national security issue rather than a local criminal matter." "I told you," Emma said to Psycho, "you should have taken option 1 when I offered it." Agent Chen approached the 3 bikers with the kind of smile that never reached her eyes. "Gentlemen, let me explain your situation. You targeted a woman whose identity and location are classified information. That suggests either incredible bad luck or a serious intelligence leak." "We were after the prosecutor's wife," Viper wheezed, still trying to catch his breath from Emma's strike. "This is all a mistake. A mistake that revealed you have surveillance capabilities and operational intelligence that shouldn't exist," Chen replied. "Which means we need to have a conversation about who's funding your operations and providing your information." Emma saw where this was heading and didn't like it. Federal interrogation would mean paperwork, investigations, and official scrutiny of her civilian life. She'd retired specifically to avoid that kind of attention. "Agent Chen," Emma said carefully, "I'd prefer to handle this matter personally rather than through official channels." "Viper 6, you know that's not protocol." "Agent Chen," Emma's voice took on a tone her former colleagues would recognize as non-negotiable, "my daughter is here. This is her safe space, her normal life. I will not have federal operations contaminating her childhood." Chen considered this, understanding the deeper implications. Emma Rodriguez had been one of their most effective operatives precisely because she'd been willing to do anything to complete missions. But she'd retired to build a different life, and that life was now being threatened. "What do you propose?" Chen asked. Emma looked at the 3 bikers, then at Sophia, who was getting restless in her stroller. "I propose we make this educational rather than punitive." "Meaning?" "Meaning these gentlemen are going to learn exactly who they almost kidnapped, why that was a mistake, and what they need to do to ensure it never happens again." Emma crouched down to Psycho's eye level, speaking quietly so Sophia couldn't hear. "Before I retired, my job was eliminating threats to American national security. Drug cartels, terrorist cells, criminal organizations that got too big or too dangerous. Do you know how many motorcycle clubs I've dismantled over the years?" Psycho shook his head, fear growing in his eyes. 7. Complete organizational elimination. No survivors, no witnesses, no evidence they ever existed. Emma's voice was matter-of-fact, like she was discussing the weather. "The difference between those clubs and yours is that they never threatened my family." "What do you want?" Psycho whispered. "I want you to go back to your club and explain that attempting to kidnap Emma Rodriguez's daughter was the worst decision in Blood Serpent's history. I want you to tell them that any further operations targeting prosecutors, witnesses, or federal personnel will result in permanent organizational consequences. Emma stood up and looked at Agent Chen. And I want assurance that my family's location remains classified and protected. Done, Chen agreed. Viper 6, consider this a professional courtesy between former colleagues. As the federal agents prepared to escort the three bikers away for debriefing, Emma turned her attention back to Sophia, who was demanding attention with increasing volume. Mama! Up! Sophia reached her arms toward Emma. Emma lifted her daughter from the stroller, and Sophia immediately settled against her shoulder with a contented sigh. To any observer, they looked like nothing more than a mother comforting her tired toddler. But as the black SUVs drove away with the three Blood Serpents members, Emma reflected on how quickly her carefully constructed normal life had been threatened. She'd thought retirement meant safety, but apparently some skills were impossible to leave behind. Sophia gurgled happily against Emma's shoulder, completely unaware that her mother had just reminded the criminal underworld why some people are too dangerous to threaten, even in retirement. The suburban mother was back, but the government assassin was never far away. Later that evening, Emma sat in her modest suburban home, watching Sophia play with building blocks while she processed the day's events. The house looked like any other young mother's residence, toys scattered across the living room, children's books on every surface, family photos covering the refrigerator. But hidden throughout the house were reminders of Emma's previous life. A panic room disguised as a closet. Weapons concealed in child-proof locations. Communication equipment that could reach federal agencies within seconds. Her phone rang at 8 p.m., just as she was putting Sophia to bed. Emma. This is Agent Chen. We have a problem. Emma closed Sophia's bedroom door and moved to her secure communication room. What kind of problem? The three Blood Serpents members we debriefed this afternoon? They were working on orders from someone much higher up the criminal food chain. This wasn't just motorcycle club revenge. It was a contract hit funded by people with serious resources. Emma felt ice form in her stomach. Who? We're still investigating, but the initial intelligence suggests cartel involvement. Someone paid the Blood Serpents to target Prosecutor Williams' family, but they also specifically requested that the operation look like random motorcycle gang violence. So this was planned to appear amateur while actually being professionally coordinated. Exactly. And Emma, there's something else. The people who funded this operation now know that Emma Rodriguez exists, that she has a daughter, and that she lives in the Sacramento area. Emma looked toward Sophia's bedroom, where her daughter was sleeping peacefully, completely unaware that her existence had just been discovered by international criminals. What's the threat assessment? Emma asked. High. Very high. Cartel intelligence networks are extensive, and they don't appreciate having operations disrupted by retired government assets. Emma made a decision that she'd been hoping to avoid for 3 years. I need full protection protocols activated for Sophia. Anonymous identity, secure location, the complete package. Emma, that means I go active again. I know. Emma's voice was steady despite the magnitude of what she was agreeing to. Agent Chen, my daughter's safety is non-negotiable. If staying retired puts her at risk, then retirement is over. Are you sure? Once you're back in, extracting yourself again won't be easy. Emma looked around the home she'd built, the normal life she'd created, the peaceful existence she'd thought would last forever. How long do I have before they make their next move? Intelligence suggests they're already mobilizing. Professional teams, extensive resources, authorization to eliminate any obstacles. Including Sophia? Including anyone connected to you. Emma felt the last vestiges of her civilian identity dissolving. The suburban mother who'd spent 3 years attending playground playdates and mommy groups was about to become a memory. In her place, Agent Emma Rodriguez was returning to active duty with the most powerful motivation possible, protecting her child. Agent Chen, I need you to arrange immediate secure transport for Sophia to the safe house facility in Colorado. Full identity protection, 24-hour security, complete isolation from any connection to my operational activities. And you? I'm going hunting. Emma's voice carried the cold precision that had made her one of the government's most effective operatives. Someone made the mistake of threatening my daughter. I'm going to make sure they understand why that was their last mistake. Emma, this isn't a sanctioned operation. If you go after cartel assets without authorization, then I go after them as Emma Rodriguez, protective mother, rather than as a government agent. But either way, the people who threaten Sophia are going to discover that some mothers are more dangerous than entire armies. After ending the call, Emma went to Sophia's room and watched her daughter sleep. The little girl looked so peaceful, so innocent, completely unaware that her life had just been upended by forces beyond her understanding. "I'm sorry, baby girl," Emma whispered. "Mama has to go away for a while to make sure the bad people can't hurt you." Within 2 hours, a team of federal agents would arrive to take Sophia to a secure facility where she'd be safe but separated from her mother. And within 6 hours, Emma Rodriguez would be boarding a plane to track down the cartel operatives who'd made the fatal error of targeting her family. The suburban mother was disappearing forever. In her place, the most dangerous woman in 3 countries was about to remind the criminal underworld that some people's children are absolutely untouchable. The blood serpents had kidnapped the wrong baby. Now they were about to discover what happened when you threatened the right mother. At 3 a.m., Emma stood in her driveway watching the federal transport vehicle disappear into the night with Sophia safely secured inside. Her daughter would wake up in a secure facility with trained caregivers, completely protected but also completely removed from the life they'd built together. Emma's phone buzzed with an encrypted message from Agent Chen. Cartel team departed Mexico City 6 hours ago. Destination, Sacramento. ETA unknown. Full operational authorization granted. The transformation was complete. Emma Rodriguez, suburban mother, no longer existed. In her place stood Viper 6, one of the most lethal operatives in U.S. government history. But as Emma prepared for what might be her final mission, her phone rang with a call that changed everything. "Agent Rodriguez? This is Director James Harrison, Task Force Black Mamba." The voice carried ultimate authority within the covert operations community. "We have intelligence that you need to hear immediately." "Go ahead, sir." "The cartel operation targeting you wasn't random. It was specifically designed to force you out of retirement." Harrison's voice was grim. "Emma, someone wanted you back in the field badly enough to threaten your daughter to make it happen." Emma felt the world shift beneath her feet. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying that the Blood Serpent's kidnapping attempt was orchestrated by someone who knew exactly who you were and where to find you. Someone who understood that threatening Sophia was the one thing guaranteed to bring you back to active duty." "That's impossible. My retirement location is classified above top secret. Only 3 people in the government know where I am." "4 people," Harrison corrected. "And one of them just activated a contract worth $10 million for your elimination." The implications hit Emma like a physical blow. Someone within the highest levels of government had betrayed her location, endangered her daughter, and was now trying to have her killed. "Who?" Emma's voice was deadly quiet. "Deputy Director Marcus Cole. He's been selling classified information to cartel intelligence networks for 2 years. Your location, your cover identity, your daughter's existence. He's been feeding them everything." Emma remembered Cole, a career bureaucrat who'd always resented operational agents like her. He'd been passed over for promotion multiple times, had access to all classified files, and had always seemed bitter about agents who received recognition for field work. "Why target me specifically?" "Because you have knowledge of operations that could expose his entire network. Bank accounts, contact lists, operational details from missions you conducted under his authorization. If you ever decided to cooperate with internal investigations, you could bring down his entire criminal enterprise. So he decided to eliminate me before I became a threat." "Exactly. But there's more, Emma. The cartel team heading to Sacramento isn't just coming for you. They have orders to eliminate anyone who might have information about Cole's activities." "What does that mean?" "It means they're planning to kill every member of Task Force Black Mamba, past and present. 57 operatives and their families. A complete organizational wipe." Emma felt rage building in her chest, not just at the threat to herself and Sophia, but at the betrayal of dozens of her former colleagues who'd served their country faithfully. "Where is Cole now?" "Unknown. He disappeared from federal facilities 8 hours ago, right after the Sacramento operation was authorized." Our assumption is that he's coordinating the elimination protocol from a secure location. Emma made a decision that would define the rest of her life. Director Harrison, I'm not just going after the cartel team targeting me. I'm going after Cole and everyone involved in this conspiracy. Emma, that's a suicide mission. Cole has unlimited resources, government-level intelligence, and professional killers from 3 countries. Director, with respect, Cole made one crucial mistake in his planning. What mistake? He threatened my daughter. There is no force on Earth, government, criminal, or military, that can protect him from what I'm about to do. Emma looked at her suburban home one last time, knowing she would never return. The peaceful life she'd built was over, but in its place was something much more dangerous. A mother with government training, unlimited motivation, and absolutely nothing left to lose. Sophia will be safe in federal protection, Harrison said. But Emma, if you do this, there's no coming back. You'll be operating outside all legal protections, with no government backup, against enemies who have unlimited resources. Director, I've spent 3 years being Emma Rodriguez, suburban mother. But before that, I was Viper 6, and I was very good at making problems disappear permanently. What do you need? Everything. Weapons, intelligence, transportation, and communication equipment. And I need the current locations of every Task Force Black Mamba operative and their families. Why? Because I'm not just saving my daughter. I'm saving everyone Cole has targeted for elimination. Emma Rodriguez was about to launch the most dangerous solo operation in covert operations history. And Marcus Cole was about to discover that some betrayals carry a death sentence. Emma's first target was the cartel team heading to Sacramento. If she could intercept them before they reached her former neighborhood, she could protect both herself and the innocent families who lived nearby. Using intelligence provided by Director Harrison, Emma positioned herself at a roadside rest stop 40 miles outside Sacramento. The cartel team would have to pass through this checkpoint, and the isolated location would allow her to operate without civilian casualties. At 2 a.m., a black SUV with Mexican plates pulled into the rest stop. 4 men emerged, professional killers with military-grade equipment and the kind of coordinated movement that spoke of extensive training. Emma watched from concealment as they conducted a security sweep of the area. These weren't gang members or street criminals. They were cartel special operations, the kind of people who eliminated problems for billion-dollar criminal organizations. Control, this is Alpha Team, the leader spoke into a satellite phone. We're 40 minutes from target location. Confirm operational parameters. Emma couldn't hear the response, but she recognized the tactical hand signals the team leader made to his partners. Full elimination protocol. No survivors. Complete area sterilization. They were planning to kill not just Emma, but everyone in her former neighborhood who might have seen or spoken to her over the past 3 years. Emma activated her own communication device. Director Harrison, this is Viper 6. Cartel team confirmed at checkpoint. 4 operators, military-grade equipment, elimination protocol authorized. Emma, local law enforcement is 20 minutes out. Wait for backup. Negative, sir. They have orders for area sterilization. If they reach the neighborhood, innocent families die. Emma moved through the darkness with the silent precision that had made her legendary in government circles. Her first target was the team's communications specialist, positioned as overwatch near their vehicle. The man never saw her coming. Emma's knife strike was surgical, instant unconsciousness, no noise, no struggle. 1 down, 3 to go. The team leader was checking his watch when Emma's voice came from the darkness behind him. "Excuse me," she said politely. "Are you looking for Emma Rodriguez?" All 3 remaining men spun toward her voice, weapons ready. What they saw was a woman in dark clothing, seemingly unarmed, standing calmly in the rest stop's parking lot. "Lady, you need to get out of here," the team leader warned. "This area is about to become very dangerous." "Oh, I know," Emma replied. "I'm the danger." Emma's first shot dropped the team leader before he could raise his weapon. Her second shot shattered the shoulder of the man to his left. The third operative managed to get his rifle up, but Emma was already moving, using the SUV as cover while she repositioned. "Control, this is Alpha Team," the wounded man screamed into his radio. "We're under attack." The target found us. Through the radio, Emma heard a familiar voice respond, Marcus Cole, speaking with barely controlled panic. Impossible! Rodriguez is a suburban mother. She's been out of the field for 3 years. Emma keyed her own communication device. Hello, Marcus. This is Viper 6. Did you really think threatening my daughter was going to end well for you? The silence on the radio told Emma that Cole was finally beginning to understand the magnitude of his mistake. Rodriguez, Cole's voice was tight with fear. You're operating without authorization. If you continue this operation, you'll be designated a rogue agent. Marcus, I stopped caring about authorization the moment you put a target on Sophia's back. Emma's voice was deadly calm. But don't worry. I'm not just coming for you. I'm coming for everyone involved in your little conspiracy. You can't fight an entire cartel organization. Watch me. Emma systematically eliminated the remaining cartel operatives with the efficiency that had earned her legendary status. Within 10 minutes, the threat to Sacramento was neutralized. But the larger threat remained. Marcus Cole was still coordinating elimination operations against dozens of her former colleagues, and he had unlimited resources to continue the attacks. Director Harrison, Emma reported through her communication device, Sacramento threat neutralized. Moving to Phase 2. What's Phase 2? Finding Marcus Cole and ending this permanently. Emma, Cole could be anywhere. Mexico, Central America, any cartel-controlled territory in 3 countries. Director, Cole made one mistake that's going to get him killed. He's a bureaucrat pretending to be a criminal mastermind. He thinks like a government employee, not like a cartel operative. Meaning he's going to try to manage this operation from somewhere that feels safe and familiar. Somewhere with government-level security and communication capabilities. Emma studied the intelligence files on her phone, cross-referencing Cole's psychology profile with his known associates and travel patterns. Director, I know where he is. And I know how to get to him. Marcus Cole was about to discover that some mothers will hunt you to the ends of the earth if you threaten their children. And Emma Rodriguez was the most dangerous mother in the world. Emma's analysis of Marcus Cole's psychology proved correct. Instead of fleeing to cartel territory, he'd taken refuge in a private security compound in Nevada, a facility that provided government-level protection while remaining technically outside federal jurisdiction. The compound was run by Blackwater Associates, a private military contractor that specialized in protecting high-value targets with questionable legal status. For $50,000 a day, they provided absolute security and asked no questions about their clients' backgrounds. What they didn't know was that their current client had made an enemy of the most dangerous woman in 3 countries. Emma spent 18 hours conducting surveillance of the facility from multiple positions. 12-foot walls, armed guards, electronic surveillance, and a helicopter pad for emergency evacuation. The kind of security that would stop any normal assault team. But Emma Rodriguez wasn't a normal assault team. She was a government operative with 3 years of pent-up maternal rage and unlimited motivation. Her approach was through the facility's one weakness, the underground utility tunnels that connected to the municipal water system. Emma had learned about the tunnels from building permits that were publicly accessible, and her government training had taught her that every fortress had infrastructure vulnerabilities. At 3 a.m., Emma emerged from a maintenance access point inside the compound's main building. The guards were focused on external threats, not on someone who was already inside their perimeter. Marcus Cole was in the facility's communications center, coordinating elimination operations against Task Force Black Mamba operatives across 3 states. Emma could hear his voice through the reinforced door as he spoke to cartel contacts. Phoenix team should have eliminated Rodriguez by now, Cole was saying. Proceed with San Antonio and Denver operations. I want all Black Mamba personnel eliminated within 48 hours. Emma had heard enough. She activated her communication device and broadcast on all federal frequencies. This is Agent Emma Rodriguez. Call sign Viper 6. Marcus Cole is coordinating elimination operations against federal personnel from a compound in Nevada. Transmitting location coordinates now. Then she kicked open the communications room door. Cole spun around to see Emma standing in the doorway, armed and absolutely lethal. His face went white as he realized that all his security, all his protection, All his careful planning had been useless against a determined mother. "Hello, Marcus," Emma said calmly. "We need to talk about my daughter." "Rodriguez, you can't be here. This facility has adequate security against normal threats," Emma interrupted. "But I'm not a normal threat. I'm a mother whose child you put in danger." Cole reached for a panic button, but Emma's warning shot convinced him to keep his hands visible. "Here's what's going to happen," Emma continued. "You're going to call off all operations against Task Force Black Mamba personnel. You're going to provide complete intelligence about your cartel contacts and financial networks. And you're going to surrender to federal authorities for prosecution." "And if I refuse?" Emma's smile was sharp as a blade. "Marcus, you've been a bureaucrat your entire career. You've never faced someone who's actually willing to do violence to protect the people they love. But I've spent 12 years eliminating threats to American national security, and right now, you're the biggest threat I've ever encountered. You won't kill me. You're a federal agent, not a murderer. I'm a mother whose daughter you threatened. That makes me something much more dangerous than a federal agent." Cole looked into Emma's eyes and saw something that made him understand he was facing his own death if he continued to resist. "What do you want?" he whispered. "I want you to call every cartel contact, every hired killer, every criminal associate you've been working with. I want you to tell them that the operations are cancelled and that anyone who continues to target Task Force Black Mamba personnel will face personal consequences from me." Cole reached for his satellite phone with trembling hands. As he began making calls, Emma reflected on how far she'd traveled from the suburban mother she'd been just 48 hours earlier. Through the facility's windows, she could see federal helicopters approaching. Director Harrison had responded to her broadcast with a full military operation to secure Cole and the intelligence he possessed. Within hours, dozens of cartel operatives would be arrested, bank accounts would be frozen, and the threat to Task Force Black Mamba personnel would be permanently eliminated. But most importantly, Sophia would be safe. Emma's daughter could grow up without the shadow of criminal threats hanging over her childhood. As federal agents stormed the compound to arrest Marcus Cole, Emma realized that she'd accomplished something unprecedented. She'd eliminated a massive criminal conspiracy through solo operations while ensuring her daughter's safety and protecting dozens of her former colleagues. The suburban mother was gone forever. But in her place was something even more powerful, a protector who would go to any lengths to defend the people she loved. "Emma Rodriguez." Director Harrison's voice came through her earpiece as federal agents secured the compound. "Outstanding work. Cole is in custody, and his entire network is being rolled up as we speak." "What about Sophia?" Emma asked, the question that had driven every decision she'd made for the past 2 days. "Safe and secure. She's asking for her mama." For the first time in 48 hours, Emma felt tears in her eyes. "When can I see her?" "Immediately." "But Emma, there's something you need to understand. After what you've accomplished, retirement isn't really an option anymore." Emma looked around the compound where she'd just dismantled an international criminal conspiracy through solo operations. Meaning the government has some very dangerous problems that require someone with your particular skills and motivation. Problems that threaten families like yours." Emma considered this as federal agents led Marcus Cole away in handcuffs. The quiet suburban life she'd built was over, but maybe that wasn't entirely a bad thing. Maybe Sophia needed a mother who could protect her from any threat, no matter how powerful or well-connected. "Director Harrison, what kind of problems?" "The kind where international criminals target American families. The kind where corrupt officials betray their own people for money. The kind where someone needs to remind the bad guys that some things are absolutely untouchable." Emma smiled grimly. "And you want me to be that reminder?" "I want you to be the person who makes sure no other mother has to go through what you just experienced. Someone who ensures that threatening American families comes with permanent consequences." 1 year later, Emma Rodriguez stood in the backyard of a secure government facility, watching Sophia play on a swing set that had been specially designed with bulletproof materials and defensive capabilities. Her daughter was now 2.5, chattering constantly and completely unaware that their home was one of the most secure locations in the United States. "Mama, higher," Sophia called out, just like she had at Riverside Park over a year earlier. "Not too high, baby girl," Emma replied, But this time she was wearing tactical gear under her civilian clothes and had 3 different weapons concealed on her body. Emma's phone buzzed with an encrypted message. New assignment. Cartel threatening federal judge's family in Texas. Immediate deployment authorized. Emma looked at Sophia, then at the message, then back at her daughter. The choice that would have been impossible a year ago was now straightforward. Agent Chen, Emma spoke into her communication device. Viper 6 accepting assignment. Deployment in 6 hours. Copy that. And Emma, the family they're threatening has a 3-year-old daughter. Understood. No survivors. Emma's new role with the government was unlike anything that had existed before. She wasn't part of any official organization, didn't appear on any government roster, and had authorization to operate outside all normal legal constraints. She was simply the mother, the person they sent when someone threatened American families. Her success rate was perfect. In 12 months, she'd eliminated 7 different threats against federal personnel and their children. Cartels, terrorist cells, organized crime syndicates, corrupt officials. Anyone who thought targeting families was acceptable strategy learned otherwise through permanent education. Sophia, time to go inside, Emma called to her daughter. 5 more minutes, Mama. Okay, 5 more minutes. Then Mama has to go to work. Sophia didn't know that when Mama went to work, very bad people stopped being problems forever. She just knew that Mama always came home, always brought presents, and always made sure she felt safe and loved. Emma's phone rang with a call from Director Harrison. Agent Rodriguez, there's been a development in the Texas situation. What kind of development? The cartel targeting the judge's family has hired professional assassins from 3 different countries. This isn't just a local threat, it's an international operation with unlimited funding. Emma smiled as she watched Sophia play, completely secure in the knowledge that her daughter was protected by the most advanced security in the world. Director, do they know they're up against me? Not yet. But they're about to find out why threatening American families is the last mistake anyone ever makes. Copy that. Viper 6 deploying to Texas. And Director. Yes. Tell the judge's family that they can sleep peacefully tonight. Their children are now under the protection of someone who considers family threats a personal insult. As Emma prepared for her next mission, she reflected on how completely her life had changed from that peaceful afternoon at Riverside Park. The Blood Serpents bikers who'd kidnapped the wrong baby had unknowingly created the most dangerous protector in government history. Now, whenever criminals anywhere in the world considered targeting American families, they faced a simple choice: abandon their plans, or face the consequences of threatening someone's child in front of a mother who had unlimited government resources and absolutely no mercy for people who hurt families. Sophia finished her time on the swing and ran to Emma for a hug. I love you, Mama. I love you too, baby girl. More than all the stars in the sky. As Emma held her daughter, she thought about all the other children who were sleeping safely because someone had learned that threatening families came with permanent consequences. The suburban mother was gone, but in her place was something far more powerful, a protector who would ensure that no child ever faced the terror that Sophia had unknowingly escaped. The Blood Serpents had kidnapped the wrong baby. But in doing so, they'd created the right protector for every family that would ever need one. This extraordinary story proves that the most dangerous predators are often the ones protecting their young, and that some mistakes reveal truths more powerful than any intended crime. Emma Rodriguez's journey from suburban mother to ultimate protector shows us that love can be the most devastating weapon when wielded by someone with the skills to use it. If this story moved you, remember, never underestimate the quiet people around you, the patient parent at the playground, the helpful neighbor next door, the friendly face at the grocery store. Any of them might be carrying secrets that could save your life or end the lives of those who threaten innocent people. Some of the most ordinary-looking people are extraordinary protectors waiting for their moment to defend what matters most. Subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and share this with someone who believes that family is worth fighting for, that children deserve absolute protection, and that some mothers are willing to take on the world to keep their babies safe.